What's up guys, my name's Brian, the owner of Engine Customs and Performance. Today I'm going to show you how to install the neu-f torque arm insert onto a Fiat 500 Abarth. Let's get started. So let's go over the tools you're going to need to get the job done. Check it out. You're going to need a 22mm wrench and an 18mm wrench, a socket extension, as well as a 3/8" socket wrench, an E18 socket. You can also substitute this with a 14mm, a 10mm socket, an 18mm socket, and a 19mm socket, 13mm deep socket, and then to make things a little bit easier, an electric impact. Optional are going to be some exhaust pliers if you want to completely remove the mid pipe out of the way. You won't actually see these used in the video though. Alright, so after you have the vehicle up in the air, the first step is we have to remove this skid plate. So take your 10mm and remove the bolts here, these two, and then these two in the back. Then just set it aside. Alright, now we need to remove this lower frame brace. Just take a 19mm with your socket wrench. Maybe a little tight, but you can typically break it loose. If these bolts are really tight, you might need to use a breaker bar. All right, we'll set that aside as well. All right, now we need to remove the rear O2 sensor. Take your 22mm wrench, and you might want to put a little PB blaster right here and let it soak for a few minutes before you try to break it loose. Just makes things a little bit easier. There we go. Once you break it loose, just twist it out of the mid pipe. And then you can just kind of tuck it away. All right, now we need to remove these two nuts that secure the mid pipe to the down pipe. Now these nuts, even on an almost new car, are probably going to be rusty. So I have already applied a lot of PB blaster to these nuts, and I've already loosened them off camera. Because if you're not careful, you can end up breaking the studs that connect to the down pipe. Then you're probably going to have to remove the down pipe to get those studs out. So you want to be careful. But what you want to do once you've put the PB blaster on there and let it soak, then you take your 13mm deep socket to remove them. All right, there's one. And there's the other. All right, now we need to remove this bolt that also secures the mid pipe, but this one secures it to the block. Take your 13mm. I'm just using my deep socket, but you can just use a standard 13mm as well to remove it. All right, now you should be able to pull the mid pipe down, like so. And you can kind of push it aside either way, just enough to just get it out of the way. All right, now we need to loosen this bolt so it'll loosen this torque arm. The way you do that, take an 18mm wrench, put it on the nut that's on the back, and then you can either take another 18mm wrench or you can take an 18mm socket to break it loose. Just put a little muscle into it. It'll come loose. All right, that should be enough. All right, now we need to remove this bolt, and that's what secures the torque arm. This bolt requires an E18 socket, or you can substitute with the 14 millimeter. Probably gonna have to put a little muscle in this one too. But it'll break loose. If you have to use a breaker bar, just make sure your car is jacked up high enough where you can use it. Once it's loose enough, you should be able just to take it out with your fingers. All right, and now the torque arm will slide right down. All right, so I want to show you with the torque arm disconnected, how much of an impact this has on your engine transmission. Watch this. I'm gonna put my hands here. I can literally rock the engine back and forth. That's how important this torque arm is. Now, if you look here, you'll see there's all this gap from where the steel arm and the rubber bushing is. That insert is gonna fill in here, which is gonna help reduce the amount of rocking back and forth. Now, you're gonna sacrifice a little bit of comfort because with it being able to rock back and forth a little bit, it's gonna reduce any vibration, but you're also, by not having the insert, you lose a little bit of torque to the wheels. So by firming this or filling this in with the insert, you're gonna be able to transfer more torque to the wheels, which in theory is more power. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and put in the insert into the torque arm. Now off camera, I went ahead and lubricated the insert a little bit. You can put grease, you can put oil. It just helps from possibly squeaking. Now, once you've done that, as you can see right here, it just slides right in, just like so. And then you just press it back in. All right, now we need to put that E18 bolt back in. May have to move this a little bit just to line it up. And I'd start it with just your fingers. And then finish off tightening it with an E18 socket, or of course a 14 millimeter socket. Make sure it's as tight as you can get it. All right, now we need to tighten this bolt back up. Same thing, take your 18 millimeter wrench on the nut and then take your 18 millimeter socket or your other 18 millimeter wrench to tighten it down. Make sure this one's really tight too. All right, there we go. All right, now we need to reinstall the mid pipe. Start by re-securing it, setting it in place to the down pipe. Here we go. Once you do that, now we need to secure it to the block. Take your bolt, get it started, get it finger tight. And then finish it up with a 13 millimeter. All right, now you need to put the nuts back on for the studs. Just put them on as much as you can with your fingers. Definitely do not use an impact on this. Not recommended. All right, now we're going to finish up 13 millimeter deep socket to tighten them down. Make sure they're snug, but don't try and over tighten them. All right, now we need to reinstall the O2 sensor. Goes right into the mid pipe. Line up the threads. It may take you a minute. Don't cross thread it. Just tighten it as much as you can with your hand. And then finish off with your 22mm wrench. There we go. All right, now we need to go ahead and reinstall the lower frame brace. Just line it up. Put all 4 bolts in before you start tightening them down with your 19mm socket. All right, 19mm with your socket wrench. All right, finally, reinstall the skid plate. So this concludes the video on how to install a neu-f torque arm insert onto a Fiat 500 Abarth. If you're interested in purchasing one of these for your Fiat 500 Abarth, you can do so directly on our website at ngencustomsandperformance.com. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss any future install videos or awesome Abarth content. And until next time, I'm out.